Recent months have witnessed a dramatic shift in the Middle East's strategic landscape, with Iran facing unprecedented setbacks through the weakening of its key regional allies. The near collapse of Assad's regime in Syria, the devastating blow to Hamas in Gaza, and Hezbollah's mounting challenges in Lebanon have created significant cracks in Iran's carefully constructed axis of influence. As Tehran grapples with this new reality, a crucial question emerges. Could these developments present Israel with a unique opportunity to strike at a weakened Iran, particularly with the prospect of a Trump presidency on the horizon? Syria has long served as the linchpin of Iran's regional strategy, providing a crucial land bridge to Lebanon and the Mediterranean, while enabling Tehran to project power directly to Israel's borders. However, Assad's increasingly tenuous grip on power has dealt a severe blow to Iran's strategic position in the region. The Syrian regime now controls less territory than at any point since the civil war began, forcing Iranian military advisors and proxy militias to operate in an increasingly hostile environment. The degradation of Assad's military capabilities has forced Iran to commit more resources and personnel to prop up the regime, stretching Tehran's already strained budget. Recent reports indicate that Iran has significantly reduced its military footprint in several Syrian regions, particularly as Russian forces have scaled back their presence, leaving critical areas exposed to rival forces and Israeli strikes. These developments have severely impacted Iran's ability to maintain its weapons transfer routes through Syria to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israeli airstrikes have become more effective at targeting Iranian installations and weapons convoys, with Assad's weakened air defenses unable to provide adequate protection. The economic toll of maintaining operations in Syria has also become increasingly unsustainable for Iran, especially as it faces mounting domestic challenges and international sanctions. Perhaps most significantly, Syria's diminished status as a reliable ally has compromised Iran's forward defense strategy, which relies on maintaining strong proxy forces near Israel's borders. The regime's weakness has created power vacuums that other regional actors are eager to fill, threatening Iran's carefully constructed network of influence. This strategic setback has forced Tehran to reassess its regional calculations and has limited its ability to respond to Israeli military actions, both in Syria and across the broader region. The devastating military campaign against Hamas in Gaza represents one of the most significant blows to Iran's network of regional proxies in recent history. Hamas's military infrastructure has been largely decimated, with thousands of fighters killed or captured, and its elaborate tunnel network systematically destroyed. This unprecedented degradation of Hamas's capabilities has effectively neutralized one of Iran's most important tools for threatening Israel's southern frontier. Beyond the immediate military losses, the operation has severely disrupted the sophisticated weapons supply chain that Iran had established with Gaza. The destruction of Hamas's rocket manufacturing facilities and the tightening of border controls have made it exceptionally difficult for Iran to replenish Hamas's arsenal. This has fundamentally undermined Tehran's strategy of maintaining constant pressure on Israel through its proxies. The financial cost of rebuilding Hamas's military capabilities will be staggering, coming at a time when Iran's economy is already under severe strain from international sanctions. More importantly, the psychological impact of Hamas's defeat has shaken confidence in Iran's ability to protect and sustain its proxy forces. This erosion of credibility could have far-reaching implications for Iran's other regional allies, who may begin to question the wisdom of maintaining such close ties with Tehran. The operation has also exposed the limitations of Iran's military support to Hamas. Despite years of Iranian training and technology transfers, Hamas's forces proved unable to withstand a sustained Israeli offensive. This failure raises serious questions about the effectiveness of Iran's military doctrine and its ability to prepare its proxies for major confrontations. Furthermore, the political landscape in Gaza has been fundamentally altered. Any post-conflict governance arrangement is likely to severely restrict Hamas's freedom of action, limiting Iran's ability to use Gaza as a launchpad for attacks against Israel. This strategic setback has created a significant gap in Iran's encirclement strategy against Israel, forcing Tehran to rely more heavily on its remaining proxies in Lebanon and Syria, which are themselves under increasing pressure. Hezbollah, Iran's most powerful proxy, finds itself in an increasingly precarious position in Lebanon. The organization faces mounting domestic challenges as Lebanon grapples with a severe economic crisis, widespread public dissatisfaction, and growing resistance to Hezbollah's dominant role in Lebanese politics. These internal pressures have forced Hezbollah to divert significant resources away from its military operations to maintain social services and political influence. The group's military capabilities have also been strained by its prolonged involvement in the Syrian civil war. While this intervention was crucial for preserving Assad's regime, it has resulted in substantial casualties among Hezbollah's experienced fighters and commanders. The organization has had to commit significant resources to training new recruits and maintaining its presence in Syria, even as the conflict has evolved unfavorably for Iran's interests. Recent Israeli strikes against Hezbollah's precision missile program have further complicated the organization's military posture. These operations have disrupted efforts to convert standard rockets into precision-guided missiles, a key component of Iran's strategic deterrence against Israel. The loss of these advanced weapons capabilities has somewhat eroded Hezbollah's position as Iran's primary military threat against Israel. The deteriorating situation in Lebanon has also impacted Hezbollah's ability to serve as Iran's forward defense platform. The collapse of Lebanon's economy has made it more difficult for Hezbollah to maintain its extensive military infrastructure and social services network. This economic strain, combined with growing Lebanese opposition to Hezbollah's Iranian alignment, has created unprecedented challenges for the organization's operational freedom. Moreover, Hezbollah's position as Iran's most reliable proxy has forced it to take on additional responsibilities following Hamas's setbacks in Gaza. This expanded role stretches Hezbollah's resources thinner and increases pressure on the organization at a time when it's already struggling to maintain its domestic position. The need to potentially support Iran's interests across multiple fronts has exposed the limitations of Hezbollah's capabilities and complicated its traditional focus on confronting Israel. The convergence of setbacks to Iran's proxy network has dealt a significant blow to Tehran's regional power projection capabilities. With Assad's authority diminished in Syria, Hamas severely weakened in Gaza, and Hezbollah facing mounting challenges in Lebanon, Iran's carefully constructed axis of resistance shows signs of unprecedented strain. This deterioration of Iran's proxy network has substantially reduced its ability to threaten Israel and project power across the Middle East. These developments have forced Iran to divert significant resources to shore up its struggling allies, depleting its strategic reserves and limiting its ability to pursue aggressive regional policies. The financial burden of supporting these proxies has become increasingly unsustainable, particularly as Iran continues to face severe economic sanctions and domestic economic challenges. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has had to spread its operational resources thin, managing multiple crisis points simultaneously. Iran's strategic depth has been significantly compromised. The degradation of Hamas's military capabilities in Gaza has eliminated a crucial southern front against Israel, while the weakening of Hezbollah's position in Lebanon has reduced Iran's ability to credibly threaten Israel's northern border. The diminished control over Syrian territory has also complicated Iran's ability to maintain its land bridge to Lebanon and the Mediterranean. In response, Tehran has begun to adapt its regional strategy, placing greater emphasis on its ballistic missile program and nuclear capabilities as alternative means of deterrence. The regime has also intensified its efforts to establish new proxy relationships in Iraq and Yemen, attempting to compensate for the weakening of its traditional allies. However, these emerging relationships lack the depth and effectiveness of its long-standing proxies. The Islamic Republic faces difficult choices in allocating its limited resources between supporting its struggling allies and maintaining domestic stability. Recent internal protests have highlighted the population's growing frustration with the regime's expensive foreign adventures at the expense of domestic economic welfare. This internal-external tension has created a strategic dilemma for Iran's leadership, forcing them to balance regional ambitions against domestic priorities. Nevertheless, Iran retains significant capabilities for asymmetric warfare and regional destabilization. The regime has demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability in the face of previous setbacks, often finding new ways to project power and influence. Their cyber warfare capabilities, sophisticated drone program, and extensive intelligence networks remain largely intact, providing Tehran with alternative means to pursue its regional objectives. The unprecedented weakening of Iran's regional position presents Israel with a rare strategic window of opportunity. The degradation of Iran's proxy network has significantly reduced the risks of immediate retaliation against any potential Israeli strike. With Hamas neutralized in Gaza and Hezbollah constrained in Lebanon, Iran's ability to activate a multi-front response has been severely limited. From a military perspective, Israel now has several viable options for action against Iran's nuclear program that were previously considered too risky. The Israeli Air Force has been methodically preparing for long-range strike missions, conducting exercises that simulate attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities. The acquisition of advanced F-35 stealth fighters and precision-guided munitions has substantially enhanced Israel's capability to penetrate Iranian air defenses and strike hardened targets. Donald Trump's election victory adds another crucial dimension to Israel's strategic calculations. Trump's strong support for Israel and hawkish stance toward Iran could provide Israel with enhanced diplomatic cover and potentially direct military support for actions against Iranian nuclear facilities. The previous Trump administration's maximum pressure campaign against Iran and its withdrawal from the nuclear deal set precedents that could be revived. The timing appears particularly favorable as Iran's air defense networks are showing signs of strain from years of sanctions and limited access to modern technology. Recent successful attacks on Iranian military installations have exposed vulnerabilities in their defensive capabilities. Israeli military planners have likely taken note of these weaknesses and incorporated them into their operational planning. However, Israel must weigh these opportunities against several critical factors. Despite its weakened position, Iran retains the capability to respond through its remaining proxies and direct military assets, including its ballistic missile arsenal. Any military action would need to account for potential Iranian counterstrikes against Israeli population centers and critical infrastructure. Additionally, Israel must consider the broader international implications, particularly the positions of Russia and China, as well as the potential impact on global oil markets. The possibility of Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation could trigger a broader regional conflict and severe economic consequences. These considerations require careful balancing of the immediate military opportunity against longer-term strategic risks. The convergence of recent events has created a pivotal moment in the Middle East strategic landscape. Iran's position has been significantly weakened through the degradation of its proxy network, with its key allies in Syria, Gaza, and Lebanon all facing unprecedented challenges. This erosion of Iran's forward defense strategy represents perhaps the most substantial setback to its regional ambitions since the Islamic Revolution. While these developments present Israel with an unprecedented opportunity to act against Iran's nuclear program, the decision to launch military action remains complex and fraught with risk. The combination of reduced proxy threats, enhanced Israeli military capabilities, and potential US support under Trump creates favorable conditions, yet the possibility of Iranian retaliation and broader regional destabilization cannot be dismissed. The coming months will likely prove decisive in determining whether Israel chooses to capitalize on Iran's current vulnerabilities. What's clear is that the regional power dynamics have shifted significantly, potentially marking the beginning of a new strategic era in the Middle East. Whether this leads to direct military confrontation or forces Iran to reassess its nuclear ambitions remains to be seen, but the status quo appears increasingly unsustainable.